Welcome into Leveraging Your Reality, where mindset meets movement. I am Siobhan Terrell Camper, your partner in growth as you become a healthier you. Today, my topic is really about reflecting on 10 years of journaling. My One of the things I told my daughter, I'm like, hey, when I die, I'm gonna give you all my journals and you can know and read about me. It's been about 7 or so years since my mom died on the day. And when we were going through her stuff, I found a little notebook and she had wrote some things in it. It was just a few things. And I read it, and in reading it, I felt so connected to her in that moment. And all I wished for was that she had written more for me to read and keep her close to me with her words longer. And it was around that time that I decided, you know what? I'm going to give my daughter my journals when I pass away so that she can read more about me and learn more about me as she continues on life without me. And I don't know what happened or where it changed, but something changed where I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to give her my journals when I'm 30. And then I had to question myself, why am I waiting when she's 30? Why am I waiting to give her her journals when she's 30? And it was a real truthful moment for myself where I didn't want to have to explain things to her. I just wanted her to know about it and it to be that. But like with having my mom gone pretty young in my life, there are so many questions that I have for her that I didn't know to ask then, but I have very much so have now. And I want to be able to give my daughter that space to be able to read about me and things that I have gone through and things I've thought about so that she can get a different view of me and be able to question me as she gets that view for deeper understanding. So we went from she'll get it when I die till she'll get it when I'm 30 to now on her high school graduation, she will get my first journal. And every year after that, I will give her that next year of journaling. And at this point, before I started digitally journaling, I think I have about 20 journals, like just books written out. And now I do all my journaling on a digital journal. Like, let me put a plug in, and I do not get paid for this. I wish I did. But there is this digital journal um, device. It's called a Remarkable. And I love this product because it doesn't have like traditional internet. It functions like a notebook. And I am like a notebook person. So I would have a notebook for journaling, a notebook for church, a notebook for whatever educational thing that I'm into. And then I would have my planner. And what this Remarkable has allowed me to do is keep that all condensed into one. It's cool because like on Etsy, you could download templates to use in place of having a physical notebook. I love that feature. Um, but in giving her a journal every year, it just gives her time. And I'm like, I hope my daughter is a way more elevated version of me. She has way more opportunities and exposures than I ever did. So her reading 10 years ahead of where I was, I think is probably a lot more appropriate because I would really hope that she's 10 years ahead of me in her own development. And I was on the phone with a client today this morning and we were talking about the difference between chasing goals and having a lifestyle because she wants to figure out how she wants to publish a play and she wants to be healthy and she wants all these things and she's trying to attack them by way of goals. And getting things based off of a goal approach is a way. It's a way that has worked for years for many people. And there could come points and times where it doesn't work for everyone. And I think this alternative approach can be really healthy in different segments. So when it comes to a lifestyle approach to integrating more things that you want into your life, it looks like as opposed to having a goal to write a script, you build up a habit of writing and you have a lifestyle that consistently incorporates writing. Like with my journals, I never set out to have a goal to write every day in my journal. Like I don't write in my journal every single day. I usually write in my journal several times a week, but not necessarily every day. And journaling is built into my lifestyle big time. And in having a lifestyle of journaling every year, I write over 500 pages in my main journal. There are other notebooks that I have that are writing based that have hundreds more pages. So it's not a goal at all. It is not a goal. It is a lifestyle that I have of journaling. And I want to share more about journaling because I think there are some things, some myth busters to open up. So I think many people have a very narrow scope of journaling, and timing is one of them. When it comes to journaling, there is no set amount of time you have to do it. Like when I first started journaling, I may have journaled every month or every quarter. It was not frequently. But then as I saw the benefits and I enjoyed it more and more, I started doing my frequency started picking up. And I've said this many times where so often we start out at our ideal versus at the starting point. If ideally I want to write journal every day, my starting point is much smaller, whether it's quarterly, monthly, or weekly, but it's a smaller start than every day. And so that's one piece, like time. Just have a journal. If you want to become a person who journals, first get a journal. Keep that journal in a visible place. That will remind you of what you want to be integrated into your lifestyle. If it helps you on a monthly basis, set a reminder to journal. At least one, somewhere in a week. So if somewhere in a month. So if you haven't journaled yet, that reminder will come up and you'll be like, oh yeah, I haven't journaled this month. Let me do it. Let me do a journal entry. Another myth buster is a lot of times people see their journal as a place to vent. And that is true. A journal is a place to vent, but that does not have to be the only thing that your journal is for. Some other things that I use my journal for, venting is definitely one of them. Like I have vented so much in my journal. I also do what I call possibility journaling. And possibility journaling is for me is when I take a situation and I fast forward in my mind to that situation being done, and I am giving my journal the update of how everything went and how I navigated it all. And this has been a really profound exercise for me because somehow or another, in talking about it already being done, sometimes I come up with ways of handling situations that I would have never thought of if I was just trying to solve the problem. And that has been a cool experience of like, wow, I didn't even know I could have done it that way. Or sometimes I come up with an idea and I'm like, oh, I would have never thought about that. Like the thought had not crossed my mind, but in possibility journaling it came out. Another thing that I do in my journaling experiences is a mental spa. And a lot of these have come from working with clients and talking through their own experience with them and labeling. Oh, so that's possibility journaling. Oh, so this is a mental spa. And in a mental spa, what you do with your journal is you essentially set some sort of a timer, like for the next 30 minutes or for the next hour. And in that time frame, you put away all distractions and you just write. Whatever comes to mind, you write about it. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be in any type of flow. You kind of just let it come out. You may spend longer on some topics than you do on other topics, but you just let it out. That's a mental spa. Mental spas are very relaxing. It's called a mental spa because usually after you've gone through like the stream of consciousness that's coming through in your mind, it feels like you've gone to a spa, but for your mind. Another type of journaling that I do is actually letter writing. So there are a few people that I write letters to. I write letters to my husband. I write letters to all of my kids, and I write letters to God. And in my letters, I'm just sharing things with them that I either might not be ready to talk about and or things that I want them to be able to later reference. Like with my husband, a lot of my letters are things that I'm like, I don't know how to say this to you, but I'm gonna say it. And I share those things with him because it allows me, I mean, write those things in a letter because it allows me to get it out of my system and release it. Because I'm the type of person, man, if I have something to say, let me tell you, it needs to come out. But what I'm learning is that just because it needs to come out, it doesn't mean that it has to come out to that person in that moment. So in writing letters to my husband, sometimes I'm able to work through how to actually bring the topic up to him. And sometimes I realize I didn't actually need to say that to him. I just needed to say it in general. In writing letters to the kids, I am writing letters to them so that they can hear about themselves at different phases of life. It was so funny. We were in the garage cleaning stuff out, and the kids found a binders of letters I had written them, and my son scanned it and put it away. And my daughter went upstairs and read every single letter. What that told me in that moment is, whoa, I'm gonna have to change my approach. So with my daughter, I continue writing letters. With my son, I've started recording videos because I know he'll watch a video. And then my letters to God. Like it to me, this is like a different form of prayer. I pray out loud, I pray in my mind, and I also write these letters. It's just another style of me communicating with God. In my mind, there's a lot going on. So if I'm praying, sometimes I get these intrusion of other thoughts and I can't stay on in the prayer. But when I'm writing, I'm able to stay where I am on the paper and I essentially just write my letter to God and I talk to him of whatever comes up in that moment, whether I need help navigating a certain situation in a way that's in alignment with him, or I'm just venting about something to him, like help me, God. Trying to think of what other types of journaling do I do. Um What other types of another type of journaling I do, and I'm a pretty spiritual and religious person. So this other piece is more like in my spiritual lifestyle and practices that I work to build, and they just happen to go inside of my journal. I do scripture alignment checks. I read this book. I wish I knew the name of it. I can't think. I read so many books at this point. But a woman did alignment checks, and she would take a scripture and ask a series of questions around the scripture to look at what does alignment look like in me living this scripture. So I'll do scripture alignment checks for myself. And then my journal is also a place where I do a lot of ideating, like big time ideation. Because I'm always having all these different ideas. And before, when I was younger, it would be about, oh, I have this idea. Let me try it. Let me do it. But what I've learned now is that every idea is not meant for me to implement it at the time that I have an idea. Sometimes it's not even meant for me to implement it. Sometimes it's meant for me to share it with somebody else. So I will walk through all of these ideas. Like when it comes time for if I ever get a chance to design a home, I will be able to go back to my journal because I have drawn out the blueprints of a future home for myself. And it's just really cool for me to just get out all of the thoughts and the ideas and the worries and the hopes that come out. And that's what journaling has done for me. And the more open I am as I go through it with how I approach it, like removing away all of the time barriers, all of the topics. It's just like whatever I have is where I go. So if you are interested in building up a lifestyle of journaling, I really, really recommend just having the journal out, carrying the journal around with you. There will come a time where you'll start choosing how you want to use your journal and where you want to put things. Um, and I recommend, like, I wish I would have really known about digital notebooks earlier because I would have done it digitally. Now, when I go to send my daughter her journal, the journal for that year, as opposed to giving her a physical book, I am going to be handing her emailing her a digital copy. And I would even talk about like the evolution of journaling. As you journal, it will evolve. The things that you talk about will shift around. There'll be some years where you're focused more on some things and other years where you're focused on another things. There was a time where like when I did my physical journals, they also served as scrapbooks for me because if I went to a Broadway show or I went to something where I received something physical, I would also tape those into my journals. Now, because I have the digital one, the last journal that I did not finish going through, I will actually take that journal and tape the paraphernalia in there, and I just keep it in there. So there will be a journal that mostly has scraps of things that the kids and I have experienced. All right. So something to think about is just another place for just you to be authentically you. And that's something too, like this is a place where I also go to question and challenge myself deeply. I will literally take a situation and question myself through my situation in my journal. All right, how am I handling this? What is another way that I can handle it? Oh, I noticed there's a lot of fear. If I wasn't afraid, how would I handle this same exact situation? If I trusted myself 100%, how would I handle this situation? It actually makes me think about a concept before we get ready to wrap. There is a concept that I tell a lot of my clients. Like, if I put you in front of a white wall, we both agree that the wall is white. Now, if I give you a pair of blue tinted glasses and have you look at that same white wall, the wall will appear blue. Change the color, now the wall is green. The wall didn't change at all. It's the same wall. What changed is your view of the wall. And that's how it works with many situations. We have glasses on that filter the situations, and we can intentionally change those filters. So if you notice yourself afraid in a situation, okay, you're wearing the glasses of fear, and now you have fear's perspective. Now, change the glasses to trust. What do you see now that trust, like now that you look through a filter of trust? Change the glasses to love. What do you see now that you look through a filter of love? And this is a really great way to build up shifting perspectives and allowing yourself to see a fuller picture in situations. And journaling can serve as a place for you to practice intentionally switching filters in different situations. All right, people, remember growth isn't always easy, but when we're doing it together, it becomes more possible. If you found this valuable, hit subscribe, share it with someone who's on a journey or maybe interested in journaling because we don't grow alone, we grow together. Until next time, keep showing up and keep leveraging your reality.